differently. That's why, because I'm slowly starting to incorporate some of the things I learned in my pediatric studies, which is actually general for everyone, because a lot of the tests that we do is for everyone. And so if that test is popping up, then I'm obviously gonna adjust it to make sure that your body stays balanced. So if you notice a little bit of different stuff every now and then, that's why. But, so our main objective today is, first of all, what is stress? Right? Most of us know what it is, but I really want you guys to really understand what it is. How does stress manifest, and how do I even handle it? Okay? So, I can't preach this enough. One of our missions here in the office is to make sure that I empower you guys to make the best decisions possible. Because the best doctor is a doctor within you. And in order for you to be the best doctor possible for your body, you gotta know how to take care of yourself, right? You gotta get some tools in your pocket to mediate anything that happens, or actually begin to prevent things from happening, especially if you're on this journey to health. Right? So, in the 21st century, this is the current health epidemic. The main causes of stress, when they did this study, and what is the biggest cause of stress affecting people today? Workload.
I would have thought finances.
You would think so, but the good thing is financially, our economy is a lot better than it's been in years. So for folks, finances aren't the top of the platform anymore, it's workload. And it's not even just at work, it's just managing everything. And the scary thing about that is, especially if it's job related, it's costing employers over $300 billion annually dealing with the effects of stress. Whether it's your employees calling out sick and having to hire someone else to do their job, or the job not getting done within timely manner, or paying for insurance that's really, really high because your employees aren't very healthy, right? So all that stuff begins to add up. Like $300 billion, that's a lot of money, right? And the effects of stress has risen to 30% in the last 30 years. Well, duh. That's no brainer. So when you think about stress, what are the things that you guys think about? When you think about stress?
Nerves.
Nerves. Nerves. In the sense of like heart rate, you feel jittery,
Foggy brain.
foggy brain. That's all due to your fight or flight, right? And I'm sure you guys have heard of fight or flight. Fight or flight is your body's natural physiological reaction to acute stress, right? It's called the acute stress response. The problem with fight or flight in relation to stress is that it's supposed to be for a very short amount of time, right? If you're in danger or you need to get away really quickly, you want your fight or flight to kick in, so you either freeze, right, or you run. Problem is a lot of folks are in fight or flight all the time. That is the effect of stress.
And with our technology, we're never, inaccessible. I mean, we're
Always.
I mean, somebody can always get us. Yeah,
Yes.
we're just always plugged in, connected. It's like we don't ever just leave the phone in the other room and go for a walk.
Just let it go. There's been plenty of time when I'm driving to the office and I'm like, I left my cell phone. Oh my God, what if somebody calls me? So the whole shift, I'm like, worried. I get home during lunch, ain't nobody called me.
Nobody.
Like the only text message I got was from Belk because I got 30% off on purses today. You know what I mean? And so then when that happened often enough, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be fine. If it's an immediate emergency, somebody will get a hold of me. And so that attachment to these devices like this, that's one of the number one stresses right there. Accessibility. It's huge.
When you got kids though, it's like a necessary thing.
To some degree, but think about it when I was growing up.
You didn't have
We
that.
didn't have none of that.
I was growing up.
And they gotta have Chloe, so it's,
She's a grown woman. She's not. But she's got disabilities. So it's a little bit different, right?
her
But
wheel falls off her chair in the middle of the sidewalk. She falls out of bed in the middle of the night.
right?
Like these things happen.
They happen. So that would be an anomaly, right? But for the most part, accessibility. Okay. So I'm gonna play a quick video here for you guys. I think it's about 4 or 5 minutes long. And it's actually gonna talk about the effects of stress and what could happen when you're in that fight or flight mode all the time.
The effect of stress on body and general health. stress in life is very common due to emotional ups and downs in life. Stress occurs from our environment, from our bodies, or our own thoughts and how we view the world around us. It is very natural to feel stressed around moments of pressure. Human body is physiologically designed to deal with stress and react to it. Under pressure, the nervous system instructs the brain to release stress hormones including adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. These hormones produce physiological changes that protect the body from the threat or danger of the stress. This is called the stress response or the fight or flight response. Stress can be in a way helpful, as the stress response makes the person stay alert, motivate and focus on the task at hand. Usually, when the pressure subsides, the body rebalances and the person feels calm again. But stress too often or for too long is not advisable. When the negative feelings overwhelm the ability to cope, then problems will arise. Continuous activation of the nervous system due to the stress response causes wear and tear of the body. The respiratory system is affected immediately. Victims start to breathe harder and more quickly in an effort to quickly pump oxygen-rich blood into the body. Although this is not an issue in normal case, it can be a problem for people with asthma. They feel short of breath and struggle to take in enough oxygen. It can also cause quick and shallow breathing, where minimal air is taken in, which can lead to hyperventilation. This is more likely when someone is prone to anxiety and panic attacks. Then stress weakens the immune systems. Cortisol released into the body suppresses the immune system and inflammatory pathways, and the person becomes more susceptible to infections and chronic inflammatory conditions. The ability to fight off illness is reduced. The musculoskeletal system is also affected. The muscles tense up, a natural way of protecting the body from injury and pain. Repeated muscle tension can cause bodily aches and pains. When it occurs in the shoulders, neck and head, it may result in tension, headaches and migraines. There are cardiovascular effects also. During acute stress, heart rate and blood pressure increase, but they return to normal once the acute stress has passed. If acute stress is repeatedly experienced, or if stress becomes chronic, it can cause damage to blood vessels and arteries. This increases the risk for hypertension, heart attack or stroke. The endocrine system and metabolism are affected. Endocrine system plays an important role in regulating mood, growth and development, tissue function, metabolism and reproductive processes. The hypothalamus in the brain plays a key role in connecting the endocrine system with the nervous system. Stress signals coming from the hypothalamus trigger the release of stress hormones cortisol and epinephrine, and then blood sugar is produced by the liver to provide enough energy to deal with the stressful situation. Most people reabsorb the extra blood sugar when the stress subsides, but for some people there is an increased risk of diabetes. Stress can have some unpleasant gastrointestinal effects. We might experience heartburn and acid reflux, especially if we have changed our eating habits to eat more or less, or increased our consumption of fatty and sugary foods. The ability of our intestines to absorb nutrients from our food may be reduced. We may experience stomach pain, bloating and nausea, diarrhea or constipation. There can be problems with our reproductive systems too. For men, chronic stress may affect the production of testosterone and sperm. It may even lead to erectile dysfunction or impotence. Women can experience changes to their menstrual cycles and increased premenstrual symptoms. Stress has marked effects on emotional well-being. It is normal to experience high and low moods in our daily lives, but when we are stressed we may feel more tired, have mood swings or feel more irritable than usual. Stress causes hyperarousal, which means we may have difficulty falling or staying asleep and experience restless nights. This impairs concentration, attention, learning and memory, all of which are particularly important around exam time. Effect of stress.
A lot of that stuff is kind of like, I knew that, right? To see it broke down like that and all those different body systems, it's really important for you guys to understand why it's so important to make sure that your nerve system is firing at all cylinders, right? Because of the devastating effects of stress, okay? So, you know that. I pulled out, these are some of the key disorders that we're faced with here in the United States, and I pulled some of these out. And what I try to do is I try to correlate it with everyday life. So when it comes to heart disease, it's more so cholesterol and triglycerides into the bloodstream. When you're in that fight or flight mode all the time, that actually starts to cause inflammation, right? When you have high inflammation, that affects the heart because now you've got inflammation of the arteries, and over time, if that builds up, then the arteries become very rigid and begin to clog up. Heart disease, heart attack, stroke, right? Asthma. I was reading a study. If a child already has breathing issues and the parent is stressed out and very just aggressive all the time, that causes a visceral response in the child and can actually increase their asthma. Right? Obesity, belly fat. So usually when you're stressed out or someone who's just stressed all the time, they get a nice little, they get their layer of fat right in this region here. Yes, all around here, but here is probably the most important because if you're developing fat in this region here, guess where your body likes to store toxins? In fat. So if you have fat in this region here, not only are you affecting your endocrine system, you're also affecting your reproductive system, you're affecting your gastrointestinal system. That's probably the hardest place to lose the fat. Some of that fat is used as a protective layer for your organs, but too much of a good thing can be what? A bad thing. Right? Diabetes. Usually diabetes begin to creep up around this time of the year because of all the parties and the foods and the unhealthy eating, headaches, just like they described in the video, tension, migraines, depression, anxiety, gastrointestinal issues, so that gut to brain connection. And someone brought up a good thing about the probiotics in the kombucha, which is why I love drinking kombucha and making sure that you guys are constantly eating foods that have different strains of bacteria, because 90% of your serotonin is in your gut. So if you have a ton of good gut bacteria, guess what that does? It sends good signals up to the brain. And so when you're in a high stress situation, you're just like, I can handle this. Let's figure it out. I can handle it, right? Accelerated aging. Studies have shown if you're under constant stress and you're not mediating it, it can age you anywhere from 9 to 17 years. Not days,
I can't believe that another
not
17
weeks.
years.
That's years, right? And so when folks were like, oh, she looks a lot older than I thought she was, that person probably under a whole lot of stress, right? And then obviously weaken the immune system, right? So I included this in you guys' little packet there, some of the symptoms of stress. So I won't have you guys have a show of hands, but if you're currently experiencing these issues, then of course, yes, your issue is stress. So there's gonna be a couple ways, both nutrition, we're going to address it, both detox, we're going to address it, exercise, so I hope you guys are wearing flats. We're gonna do a little something, something, right? And then we're also gonna talk about the effects of it on your spinal nerve system. So your endocrine system. In all of my studies, and Lord knows, I love to read a good book. I'm constantly listening to podcasts, all sorts of stuff in my spare time, right? But your endocrine system, as I'm learning, as I'm maturing in age, is one of the most important organ systems in your body, obviously besides your brain and your nerve system. Why? Because it contains your pineal gland, your hypothalamus, your thyroid, your parathyroid, your adrenal gland, your pancreas, and then your reproductive organs. Those are important organs. And when you're under a constant stress, those are some of the first organs to shut down, right? Your endocrine system, it plays an important role in regulating your mood, growth and development. So think about our kids, right? Think about our preteens, our teens. Whenever, especially when they first start care, I hear this word anxiety all the time. I'm like, what does a 12-year-old know about anxiety? These kids know what anxiety is and they're experiencing it. At 12 years old, I was just done playing with Barbies and stuff, right? I had a mom, her son, he came in this afternoon. He's going to a friend's party this weekend, and he has been banned from playing Fortnite. So he was just in a terrible mood. And I don't know if you guys have heard of this Fortnite stuff. I have refused to even like click on it to see what it's about because I'm afraid I might get addicted, but it is wreaking havoc on our kids. And when our kids are stimulated that way from electronics and that constant video game, it begins to shut down their frontal lobe. And when their frontal lobe gets shut down, their ability to communicate, their ability to feel emotion, their ability to regulate emotion goes way down. Now, I'm not saying completely ban your kids from all technology, but it's so important to begin to monitor that big time. Most kids, they don't need a cell phone. Their friends got a cell phone, so if they need to call you, right? A lot of parents are, worried about tracking their children, especially with everything's going on, and I get it. I'm not a parent, so I'm not quite there yet. But just be very aware of your kids and their constant exposure to these electronics. It's very, very scary. I actually had to ban parents from allowing their kids to, I had one kid, it was actually two of them. The only way they would get adjusted in the beginning was to put the iPad underneath the adjusting table so they had that visual stimulation. That's the only way they would get on the table. I sat mom down after the adjustment. I said, Mom, I can't have this. No more. It starts at home. You train them, right, at home, so that when they come here, they don't have to do it. She immediately went home. She put the iPads in their lockbox and said, enough is enough. 2 days later, they came in, got right on the table. It starts at home. All right? Your hypothalamus, right? That is where your pineal gland rests. We're going to talk a little bit about that, right? Pineal gland plays a key role in connecting the brain to the nerve system. What am I always telling you guys? Power's on. Power's on, right? The only way your power stays on and is actually working is when your brain is fully connected to your nerve system. And the only way that that happens is through your hypothalamus, right? Now within your hypothalamus, that pituitary gland allows you to sleep and the release of your adrenal gland. So recognizing your stressors. One thing about running a health clinic is you are under constant bing, 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 bing. Through shift of like, oh, what's happening? We're adjusting so much. Doctor did this, doctor did that. So your ability to mediate life gets increased the more people we see, which I'm very thankful that we're able to help so many people, and it's only going to get bigger and better. It's y'all's fault because you keep telling people come in here, right? But yeah, right?
Being so educated.
But in your daily life, right? You're constantly exposed to work and play and the kids and the husband, and so especially as women, by nature, we're nurturers, right? We've been taught to take care of people. We've been taught to be that person that I'll figure it out. I got it. But I have to say, we have got to learn to take a step back and say, do I really have to do that?
No.
Is that really my position to do that? And if it's not going to affect my family, my money, or myself, guess what? No. I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'll do it in the future, but I'm not going to do it right now. Just by saying no, a huge weight literally lifts off your shoulders. When I learned to say no, boy, I'm telling you, life got so much more manageable, right? But the key word is no. What you first got to recognize is that stress is going to affect your life, and if it's not, guess what? Keep it pushing. Give it to somebody else. Learn how to delegate, right? By nature, we're not delegators, right? We're multitaskers. We can handle a lot, but over time, what that does for our body, in that video, you saw the effects of stress. So in our office, I cannot tell you over and over again how much I stress practicing the 5 essentials, right? Coming in here, you're getting your spine adjusted, you're doing your home exercises, right? Nutrition, which we're about to talk about here, making sure that you're feeding your body the proper foods necessary to feed your nervous system so that you stay with your power on, having healthy mindset. So coming to these workshops, learning how to take care of yourself, that's that mindset. We're gonna do a little bit of oxygen, and I actually have a chart in there. I don't know if I printed it out. You may not have to, I think we ran out of ink. But if you've got your cell phone, right, take a picture of it because I'm going to show you guys an effective way. And this is the exercises, pretty much the exercises that I do to help maintain my health. I'm not in the gym half an hour, I haven't got time for that, right? But what I do is I do very specific exercises to maintain my health, right? And then obviously you guys know I'm all about detoxifying your system. We're actually going to talk about how to detoxify your endocrine system. How cool is that? So first, nutrition. right? All the more reason why we have hummus. Ignore the sausage stuff, y'all. That's, I mean, it was in the packet. But there's a reason why there was olives in there, so we'll go over that in a minute. But it's really important, especially during stressful times, to just eat as healthy as possible throughout the day. So we're gonna talk about one of the best ways to do that, especially if you know you're about to come to a very stressful season, or you know that you have a stressful event coming up, or if you're just stressed out in general, right? It's autophagy fasting. We're actually gonna do, I did this last week, and my intention, I already knew I was gonna do this way, I didn't want to, but I just needed to see like what it was gonna do to my body. I lost 5 pounds in 6 days. I didn't want to, but it's just what happened, right? And so, autophagy fasting is so important because it's a term used to describe how your cells repair themselves when you stop eating. As a society, we eat too much. That old adage of you need to have breakfast, you need to eat dinner, you need to have lunch, that's old, right? If we were in the factory working really hard, if we were in the fields working extra hard, yeah, you need that food. But a lot of us are not that active, right? A lot of us are either sitting, right? Or we're retired, or we're just living a comfortable life. We don't need that much food. And the problem is your body converts that into sugar, and then that sugar gets added and turns into fat. Right? Now, the great thing about autophagy fasting is when you're fasting for at least 16 hours, a switch literally turns on in your body, and your body literally starts feeding on the toxins and burns the fat. Because the key thing is when you're fasting, our bodies are designed to feed off of fat. Not sugar, fat. And so when you're ingesting too much protein, guess what it does? Turns into sugar. When you're ingesting too many carbs, turns into sugar. So now you're training your body, and I tell folks when they're trying to do the ketogenic diet and not doing it properly, you'll lose weight, but then you'll stall out. And then you'll get really, really sick because you're mostly eating proteins and vegetables, both will turn into sugar and not enough fats, or not enough healthy fats, right? So when you're fasting for that 16 hours of no food at all, your body starts to feed on all the bad stuff and also burns fat as a fuel as it's toxifying those toxins, right? It also turns on the good genes. Right?
So how long would you do that? I mean, you
16
talking about
hours.
for 2 days, 3 days? I mean,
So it depends
it's
on
16 hours, but would you would continue it on because the switch isn't gonna turn on until you hit 16.
let's take this 16 hours. So I did it for an entire week because I wanted to see how my body lasted. So basically, it's just like regular fasting, but you're eating specifically. We're gonna break that down.
Oh, okay, so you're eating something.
You're eating something,
Okay.
but just not in that time frame, right? So think about it. If you start fasting, say your last meal is at 7 o'clock at night, right? If you don't eat again until the next day around 10, 11, or 12, that's all included in your fasting. So when you're sleeping, right, you're still fasting because you're not eating or drinking anything, right? So you're still fasting. Right? So autophagy fasting, so 16 hours of no food. Now you can do a dry fast. I wouldn't recommend it. You need some water. So water is okay, but if you want to try a dry fast, go ahead. You're gonna have a really, really bad headache. But you know, if you want to just test your body out, by all means do it. But you need water. If you're a coffee drinker, you just have to make sure that that coffee or tea is obviously organic, but nothing added to it. No sugar, no stevia, no creamer. It has to be the plain without anything. Don't even squeeze a lemon in it. It's got to be the plain, plain, plain. Because the longer you keep your stomach empty, the longer you stay in autophagy. Right? Supplements are okay. Supplements are okay, but no food, water, yes. Caffeine, yes, just making sure there's no sugar, no fillers, right?
No lemon energy.
Nope, nothing, just plain Jane, right? Now, one of the teas that's actually really, really good for you is Earl Grey. It's got the bergamot citrus in it, and that actually increases your body's ability to stay in autophagy a lot longer. So if you're looking for something very specific to keep you in that state, Earl Grey tea, the bergamot citrus.
Go back to number 1.
I'm sorry?
Go back to number 1, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
So when it is time for you to eat and you want to break the fast, so that's where breakfast came from, you're breaking that fast, the first thing you want to eat is fat. Fat, 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 fat. Why? Because we're training our body to feed off of fat, right? And if you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to detoxify yourself, the best way to do it is to feed yourself fat. So it's constantly knowing that, okay, the only thing that's in this body is fat, so guess what I gotta burn? Fat, right? So some of the best ways to do it is an avocado. I forgot how good avocados were until that was the only thing I could eat after fasting. And literally I take a whole avocado, slice it in half, take the pit out. I just put some Himalayan salt and some chili pepper flakes, mash it together, scarf it out, and I'm good.
That's what.
So good, right? Olives, so we had olives in there, right? So popping a handful of olives when you're trying to break the fast. Nuts, so if you get a combination, walnuts and cashews have a higher fat content. Almonds are okay, they're a little bit more protein, but they still have some fat. And macadamias, right? So you can mix them all together or pick whichever one you like out of the combination. You have a couple handfuls of that to break the fast, right? You can have eggs scrambled. They're a little bit more on the protein side, but they still have enough fat in it to where that's a good way to break the fast. Grass-fed dairy. Depending on where you're at in your health spectrum, if you're still new to this, then no dairy whatsoever. But if you're, years into this and you want to experiment with your body, definitely go ahead and try. Nut and seed butters. Awesome. Another way you can break your fast is a smoothie in the morning. You just have to make sure that you're using a full fat coconut milk, avocado, a little bit of greens, and a green apple. If you're doing autophagy fasting. Rule 3. Protein. You want to keep your protein intake while you're fasting under 20 grams. Any more than that, your body will take it, convert it into sugar. Now your body's now burning sugar, not fat. It's so important because it's going to lower your blood sugar and your insulin. So anyone who is type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic or is feeling like their blood sugar elevated, the best way to heal your pancreas is let it alone, leave it alone, right? And also raises testosterone. So us women, we need some testosterone. That's what helps us lose weight. For our men at home that have low testosterone, this is perfect for them to increase their testosterone. And then lastly, the last thing you want to do is incorporate carbs. Right? This is known for autophagy fasting. So if you're eating regularly or you're fasting a different way, then of course you wouldn't wait till the end to do carbs. But keeping carbs at the end allows your body to still feed off the fat. Minimizes hunger. I don't know about you guys, but I've had like a bunch of berries in the morning, and then within like 30 minutes you're hungry again. You just spiked your insulin level, sugar, so now you're hungry, right? It also keeps you in ketosis long. Ketones is what we're looking for. That's your body feeding off of the fat. So what do you do when you're done fasting? So fasting for everyone's going to be a little bit different. I did it for a whole week because I wanted to see what my body was going to do. If you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to mediate stress and trying to get your body healing again, I would recommend doing it for a week. Right? Now, if you're like, I don't know about this, I've never done this before, and you want to do it just for a day, do it for a day, do it for 2 days, do it for 3 days. Don't do it more than a week because then your body starts to cycle down, right? And especially as women, especially if you're still menstruating, that will definitely affect your progesterone levels, right? So if you're gonna do autophagy fasting, just do it for a week, go back to your regular eating schedule, and then say you wanna do it, in a couple weeks or a month from then, do it again. Right? But the best way, when you're done, if you're doing it for a whole week, is you gotta ease into it. So you wanna start with steamed vegetables. Because your gut's not used to processing a whole lot of food, so if you shock the system, you go eat a slice of pizza to reward yourself or a hamburger or hot dog, you're gonna get really, 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 really sick, right? And you don't wanna do raw vegetables. You wanna do nice cooked so your body can actually process it, right? You can do bone broth, right? So those of us who like coffee in our bone broth, there you go. You can actually put stuff in your coffee again, right? If you're already not eating eggs, go ahead and introduce eggs. Veggies. That's when I would add in beef, chicken, or fish.
you're eating like the 20 grams or less?
You
We're
can
not
eat,
doing fish and that until we're done that.
so as far as quantity, so you can still eat
Oh, okay,
protein while you're fasting, it just has to be 20 grams or less.
but that can be included in that, the chicken, fish and beef or that?
Yeah, you can still eat, yeah, so if you have like a chicken salad, right, but just make sure that it's very little chicken. If you wanna do, for instance, like fish, it just has to be under 20 grams. Your whole day has to be under 20 grams. And when you start reading labels of things, you'll see that protein is in everything. Also, avoiding common problems, indigestion. Oftentimes we like to overeat during this holiday season. So choosing your food choices. No. Right? The effects of bloating, caffeine, which is why I introduced the kombucha, because it's got the black and green tea. So if you need that boost in the middle of the day and you don't want to grab coffee, you've got some. You got it?
Oh, I did.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. Yep. Your cravings are very, very important. I think I have on that chart there food cravings. If you've got certain food cravings for certain things, look to see what you can do instead to help mediate those cravings, right? And then, of course, avoid sugar at all costs if possible. Sugar causes inflammation. So we're gonna go through a couple of the supplements because a lot of folks have questions as far as who, what, when, where, and why. And so we'll breeze through quite a few of it, but some of the key ones that I think are very, very important, especially when you're trying to get yourself out of this fight or flight state, is making sure you have a good multivitamin. Because our food sources here, and I don't even care if it's organic, if it's here in North Carolina, our soil here just isn't as nutrient dense as it used to be, you need a good multivitamin. Now I don't take a multivitamin on the regular because I've got my body to a state where I just take a few things here and there and then I get a lot from my nutrition. But if you're starting your journey to health, yes, you need a multivitamin. Yes, you need a multivitamin, right? Daily Defense. Daily Defense has curcumin in it. We all know curcumin turmeric helps mediate pain, helps with stress. But ours in particular has SOD. You guys ever heard of SOD? It's a superoxide dismutase, and it's a super powerful antioxidant, and it also helps you deal with stress. Right? A lot of our kids who play sports, football, basketball, lacrosse, gymnastics, I tell parents your child needs daily defense, right? Because now we've got kids that have anxiety at 12 years old, right? Who knows what else is going on? But when they're playing sports and having to deal with school and homework, they need something to help keep their body as stress-free as possible while they're actually maturing as a young adult. Okay? Optimal Omega. If you're not getting your, I hate calling it fish oils, but your ALA, your EPA, your DHA from food sources or other supplements, then yes, you need an Optimal Omega. It really helps decrease the inflammation in your body. So if you're constantly hurting all the time, that probably means you don't have a good ratio of omega-3s to omega-6s. You probably have high omega-6s in your body, which is why fasting is awesome because it helps begin to eliminate that out of your system. Also, the great thing about making sure that you're taking omegas because of this right here, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, Alzheimer's, and I forgot to put dementia, right? And the older we get, the older our parents get, and some of us are starting to see the signs of Alzheimer's, dementia, right? One of the best ways to help mediate that is getting omegas into your body and their bodies. If you have to sneak it in somehow. B complex. If you have a history of dealing with depression, mood swings, 9 times out of 10, you need a B complex. Now you may not have to stay on it for a very long time, but for that immediate way of balancing out your hormones, absolutely. I usually recommend this for our young teens going through trying to balance out their hormones or if they're stressed out all the time. Vitamin C. Everybody wants to know how to have good skin. Just some vitamin C. Or order some Tracy's Tuber toddy. Yep. Also helps with your adrenal glands, magnesium. If you're one of those people who just got an achy body all the time, achy shoulders, achy legs, 9 times out of 10, you are magnesium deficient. Which means you got too much calcium in your system and not enough magnesium calming your body down. Also, if you've got some gut health issues, if you're having a hard time passing stool, oftentimes you need some magnesium to help soften the stool so that you can pass.
No, is the magnesium deficiency show up in blood work?
Unless they're testing for that specifically, but 9 times out of 10, what we did is we bundled it, so if there's someone who wants to, or anyone that wants to just like, hey, I just wanna just do something right now, the whole month of December, I don't know if you guys know, it's 20% off all our products. Today only, it's 25%, right? Today only. So what we did is we discounted the whole bundle by 25%, so it's $136.47. And I believe we've got everything in stock, and if we don't, we're placing another big order this Friday. Now, some alternatives. This is more now endocrine system balancing, right? So if you're already like kind of eating pretty well, you've got your supplements in balance, and you now want to start to heal your endocrine system, this is one of my favorite life-changing revelation products I have ever had, and we're actually going to be giving one of these. Sea Supreme. So, as I'm maturing in age, I don't have any kids yet. I'm 37, so my hormones are like this. My body's like, so when? I'm like, not until I'm married. So in the meantime, I need something to help keep me balanced out because stress levels are high, and in order to mediate your hormones, you need an adaptogen to allow your body to adapt to life. And this is exactly what it does. It supports your endocrine function, brain function. It also detoxifies you and immune system function. And it also gives me a lot of energy. So you guys ever wonder why I'm like, why is she always? That's one of the main reasons why. Naturally, I'm like that, but not really early in the morning, but I kind of developed that, right? And also what I love about it, it's 50% fluvic acid. It is one of the strongest electrolyte known, and it's powerful for health, balance, and longevity of our cells. And I tell you, within a couple days of taking this, everything just started to calm down. Now, some specific endocrine system balancers. This is certified organic maca. And so it also is an adaptogen. It helps support energy, vitality, and endurance. Especially if you're pre-menopause, menopausal, postmenopausal, and you're doing this will help keep your body at bay. And it is also great and we've got a lot of young women in our office that have infertility issues, right? And so if you have infertility issues, 9 times out of 10, your progesterone to estrogen level is off. Progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone level is off. This right here will help balance that. Also, if you're having libido issues for your men also, hint, hint, right? This also helps with that. Lady Passion. So there's a caveat with this one. If you have been diagnosed with hyperthyroid or if you have been diagnosed with Hashimoto's, you cannot take this. It could develop a goiter. Right? So the alternative to that would be our Lady Passion. It's liquid, and it also has some of the CGI properties in it so that it doesn't develop a goiter. Now the difference between this one and the maca, that's the difference. This is liquid, maca is powder, right? The maca, you could just put it in some water, shake it up and take it, or put it in some juice and take it. Lady Passion, you could just drop it in your mouth.
So if you've ever had thyroid issues, you shouldn't do the other one, or just, because years ago, I was on Synthroid until I started working with a holistic health practitioner. I haven't been on it in over 15 years, but would
You should be
say?
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd be fine. You could go either way, but someone who currently has a current diagnosis of Hashimoto's or hyperthyroid, or currently expressing it and not fully diagnosed, I would say do the Lady Passion first so we can get you out of that state. And then if you want to add something else to your repertoire, then you can switch to the maca. Digestive enzymes. So a lot of us, especially this time of year, when you've got to travel and you got to go to parties and you got to hang out with people and eat food that you're not used to eating or don't want to eat, but you're just going to do it for the sake of it. You need digestive enzymes, especially if you're taking it with maca, because they're both natural detoxifiers, and you have to take the digestive enzyme to help break down the carbs, the protein, so that you can eliminate it properly. Because a lot of people develop digestive issues around this time of year, which is why in January they're like, oh God, I need to be a detox, I need to get this weight off of my body. Whereas if you start doing something now, you won't have that need to do something in January because you're already doing it.
So digestive enzymes are different than probiotics.
Different, yes. So probiotics are gut bacteria, digestive enzymes are enzymes, they're catalysts to help tell the probiotics what to do, right? They're also enzymes that help catalysts of your hormones, right? They're catalysts to the motility of your gut, right? So they're like back in the day, the phone system, they're the lady that does this.
So what's the difference
Operator.
what's the difference in digestive in the enzymes and bitters?
Nothing,
So if I'm already taking bitters,
you're good to go, unless you wanna introduce something different to your body, because long-term use of the same thing over and over again, your body gets used to it and then it's just kinda like, ah. So if you
yeah.
wanna introduce something to your system, this is a great way. I love it because, you can feel the immediate difference. Her time. Her child. Let me tell you. So, y'all know me, I'm constantly, you guys are like, okay, you're doing another detox? Yeah. You drinking your water? Yes, right? I gotta touch you guys and I gotta make sure that I stay as healthy as possible so that I can stay open on the regular. But this is also another life-changing thing. Harataki. Harataki is an Ayurvedic supplement. It mostly comes in powder form, but I'm lazy and I'm too busy to be sitting there mixing stuff, so I'm gonna get the pill form. But what it does is it begins to detoxify your pineal gland. That's super important because we just learned earlier what that does as far as your brain to body communication. Right? Most of us have a calcified pineal gland just because of our makeup. If you ingested fluoride through your toothpaste, through fluoride treatments, yes, your pineal gland is calcified. And you can do all the detoxes you want, but if you don't detoxify that master controller, you're just not gonna get the full benefits. And I'm telling you, the first day I took it, and I woke up that next morning, I said, what on earth? I woke up before my alarm clock. Normally when I did that, I would be very angry. But this time I didn't have a choice, I was just up, and I'm just like walking around like, all right, let me go ahead and get ready at 4:55 in the morning, right? And I thought I was gonna crash throughout the day. And around 9:30, I was like, you know, sometimes you're tired and you just didn't want to sit there and you just want to watch that TV show, so you just stay up, you stay up. Nope. Not waiting on this, you will fall asleep and call it a day. And you wake up when your time to wake up. No more waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. 9 times out of 10, if you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, that is an adrenal problem. Right? And so, we probably won't ever sell this in the office, but what I did is, most everyone has a handout for it. There is a link on there, and I was actually really skeptical because a product like this should cost like 50, 60, 70 bucks. It's only $17.95 if you're on auto ship. If you just want to try it for the one time, it's 20 bucks. And I think shipping's free. So if you really want to get the full effects of making sure that you stay on top of everything, on top of health or healing your endocrine system, adding this to it will take you to the next level. I was kind of feeling a little like my chest, you know, when you're starting to get like a weird cough and you know something's going down. I popped 2 of those bad boys before I went to bed. I woke up the next day, good. I started to feel a little weird on Tuesday. I popped 3 of them before I went to bed. Woke up, felt good. Why? Because research has found that it's helped cancer, diabetes, obesity, constipation, HIV, and Crohn's disease. That's how powerful this Ayurvedic supplement is.
That's how much.
Ayurvedic? Ayurvedic.
So you take this with all the other stuff too?
It sounds like a lot, but you space it out. So I,
It's all day long.
it seems like you don't have to worry about a diet.
I take that at
It
night.
seems like it, but
That's the only thing I take at night.
it seems like it at first, but what I try to teach everyone is get yourself to the point where you're not having to take all this stuff, right? In the beginning, yes, because your body's got to heal, you've got to flood your system with all this stuff so it heals, but once it begins to heal, then you don't have to take everything every day, right? Or you don't have to take something. You can get a lot of the nutrients from the foods that you're eating, but until you can get your body to that healthy enough state, yeah, you want to be taking some supplements. But it's better than taking medication.
It is.
It's better than being on dialysis, right? It's better than going to cancer treatment 2 times a week, right? So, of course, I'm the test buddy. I test everything. I do not
Me too.
recommend anything to anybody unless I've tried it for myself. So my next guinea pig is Tracy.
Cause I will
I'm
try
always like,
anything.
I felt like a
to-
drug dealer. I'm in the kitchen, put something in the thing, and I'm like, try this, do this, do this, do this. Tell me, how you felt.
It was amazing, and I'm ADHD to the highest level, and this was my year to come off my Adderall, and I have tried everything. I mean, if you knew how much money I sunk into supplements, this was life changing to me. I haven't tried any of the other stuff, but I do the hair, and I have not had anything that made, and I knew it was working because I went and read the research. I could tell
It's
the
hard to
decalcification happened because my stool smelled just like penicillin or something like antibiotic. When I would go to the bathroom, and it's first thing in the morning, you get out the bed, you can barely get up, and it's like,
Yep. And it's out.
and I tell you, all day long I go, but she's right, about 9:30 or 10 o'clock, I don't care what I'm doing, my body just shuts down
Yeah.
and goes to sleep, and it sleeps good.
Now, there are some side effects, right? Headache. I had a
Yes.
headache. I remember you texted me. You're like,
I said, doctor, what is wrong with me? I don't get headaches, and if my body does anything wrong, I know, like, this isn't normal, because I know my body really well. I carried a low-grade headache, like, for a week, and I was like, I don't know if I can do it, because I don't do headaches, I don't take medicine, everything trying to put peppermint on and hemp oil.
Yeah.
And she was like, just hang in there, just hang in there. The other thing is, you can't have alcohol.
Yes.
I
Yes.
was like, I don't know how much longer I can do this.
One night, she was like, I said, don't do it. I don't know what it's gonna do to you if you do drink.
I
Don't risk it.
I mean, like now, I don't take it on the weekends, so
Yeah.
I might not take it on a Friday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I may not take it.
So it doesn't linger into your system? I mean,
No, it does.
it
So,
does, so.
the after effects of it does, but when you're taking the supplement and you've got direct alcohol in your system, because you take it at night in the beginning,
Uh-huh.
but then if you take it with alcohol, it says not to do it, and if it says not to do it, I'm not doing it.
Well, yeah,
It's a stimulant, kind of, sort of, with a depressant.
yeah,
Boy, yeah, so just don't do it, I'm not going to jail for any of y'all.
yeah.
So I don't take, so if the nights that
You're gonna
I
drink.
like tomorrow night, we're going to an event, I'm not gonna take that before I go to bed, but Sunday through Thursday
Oh,
night,
yeah.
I take it because it makes such and everybody always say, how do you go everywhere you go and do everything that you do? Put it on overdrive, and I do a lot.
Yep.
A lot.
And your ability to handle stress
Yes.
is amazing, because life comes at you like this, and I look at someone, I'm like, all right, we'll figure it out. They're gonna be like, what? We'll figure it out. The old me would have been like,
Nah, I did notice that.
now I'm just like,
So you take it at night?
you take it at night, so
Yeah.
you start off, most people start off with one, just so you see the effects of it.
Not
Of
true.
course, I went balls to the wall, I took 2. I took 2 and I woke up like, So I've been taking 2, and my body pretty much handles 2 at night. And then I've graduated to taking 1 in the middle of the day, just to see what because I knew I was gonna be doing this, and then, you got so much stuff going on, and I feel fine. But especially taking it, especially if you feel something coming on, boy, that thing knocked it out. Along with the all-through.
All floor is my favorite.
Yep.
Mm.
So when it comes to detoxification, yes, you're gonna get a headache. I had a headache, mine was like for a week and a half. I was like, oh god.
But it's not like a migraine
Not a
from
migraine,
detox, like
but
a
it's like
real
that.
form, like detox.
Yeah.
This was a low grade aggravating.
Mhm.
It was more that I was like, I'm just
Yep.
tired of it. It's aggravating.
You wanted to
It
go
wasn't
away.
like that real when I do my 40-day detox where it's so bad I can't lift my head off the pillow. It wasn't that type of headache.
And I also, doing detoxes like that, yes, you're gonna have effects like that, but that like headache for 30, 40 days, that's actually really not good for your system, because that's increasing your fight or flight response, and that could do more damage than good. That also lets you know how toxic you are. And so what I'm trying to teach you guys is detox a little bit at a time, right? This full on going straight to the bathroom and staying by the bathroom all the time, every now and then, but for a whole week like that, that's not healthy. Your body, that immediate fight or flight response, that does more harm than good, right? So detoxing smart and throughout the time, and just doing different ones just to make sure that your body stays as healthy as possible. So managing stress, so there's two ways. There's managing stress, is which we talked about earlier. So eating advanced or core plan in the nutrition book. So if you got your nutrition book, there's an entire chapter on advanced plan versus core plan. Or if you've had a nutritional consult with me, eating according to your nutritional plan, right? I also recommend doing a 1-day juice cleanse a week. So I've got a juicer at home, and I'll either do like a green juice all day, or if I'm really strapped, I'll go to Clean Juice in Mayfair. I don't know if you guys have ever been there. I love it there. They actually have a 1-day juice, and there's I believe there's 2 different green juices. There's like a real bitter one, a sweet one. There's a carrot juice. There's a beet juice. There's a lemon water juice, and then a cashew kind of milk juice. And you order it through your app. You go there. It's got your name on it. You pick it up and you start juicing. And it's 16 ounces of juice. You drink it every 2 hours. Every 2 hours. So if you know that you're about to go visit family and they stress you out and you need something to just kind of get your mood right, do a 1-day juice cleanse a day or 2 beforehand, right? If you've got a really important business meeting and you just want to make sure that your body stays as even keel as possible, just do a 1-day juice cleanse. Also the supplements, just like we talked about, the magnesium, the vitamin C, the Optimal Omega, the Daily Defense. And I also would recommend doing the Harataki with that. If you just want to manage the stress, right? So if you're kind of new to this and want to get your body moving in the right direction, this is what I would recommend. If you're a little bit further along and you know specifically you want to do your endocrine system, then I would recommend doing autophagy fasting for at least 1 week. Now you have to be very careful the week that you pick this, because if you're still on your cycle, you want to make sure that you're not doing it the week before your cycle or the week of your cycle, because it will affect your progesterone levels. And then you'll be having missed cycles, and we don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that you're charting your cycles, and you just pick the week, 2 weeks before the start of your cycle, or do it the week after you end your cycle to do the fasting. Obviously, either advanced or core plan or whatever nutritional plan, and then you would do the endocrine system supplements. Now there are either the Biore or the Maca Force, and then the rest of them. Now we won't sell the Harataki, but you can always order it. And how long did it take for you to get yours?
It wasn't even a week,
Yeah, I can't remember because
because I gave you back half.
I can't remember because I forgot that I even ordered it, and I went to check my mailbox. I was like, dang, this has probably been here for a few days. It's coming from California, so keep that in mind.
So you're talking about cycles of that. I'm asking for a friend, what if they're menopause?
If you're in menopause, then you should be fine.
Okay, so you don't have to time anything, you're just.
If you're in menopause or you're already done and you're just having hot flashes, then you can do it. Yep, you can fast whenever you want to. And it'll actually help mediate the effects of menopause. Asking for a friend. I got you. I know what friend you're talking about. Oxygen, exercise. How many of you guys exercise? It's okay. I wasn't doing that just to call everyone out. But what if I tell you you can get a really good exercise in 12 to 20 minutes?
I do.
And you can do it in your house. You don't have to go to a gym. Right. So, it's not included, but we can print this out and grab it for you guys. So this is pretty much what I do at home. I'll do it in the gym sometimes if I just wanna like not bother my neighbors, but this is what I do, right? And so, this takes 20 minutes. What I do is I do each exercise for 45 seconds, then I do a 15-minute break, then I transition to the next exercise, then I do a 15-minute break, and I
15 minutes.
15 seconds, sorry, 15
Oh,
seconds.
I can do that.
All right, 15-second break, and then I go to the next one, I do that for 45. So at the end of the first segment, I take a whole minute off break, just to kind of get my breath, and then I go right back into segment 2 and do that all over again. And that total time is 20 minutes. And when I tell you, you are sweating, you really feel like you did a full-on workout in
Yeah,
20
cause you
minutes.
got push-ups up there, I can barely do 15.
Mountain climbers up there too.
Mountain climbers. So there's 2 ways you can modify it, right? If it's hard for you to get on the ground because of achy joints, you can always go up against the wall and do mountain climbers here,
Oh, okay.
right? You can also do push-ups from here, right?
Oh, good.
And so you build that strength, especially over time when you're healing your body, those ligaments and muscles will begin to heal, so then you can get on the ground and do your
Arthritis in there.
Arthritis.
Hands, yeah.
So there's modifications for all of these, so if you do want to, try out some of these and we print it out, bring it to me and I can help you modify it. Box jumps, if you can't get on a box jump, then you just put a toy or something on the ground and you just jump over it. Jump over.
Box up, you jump out into a box, and then off a box.
Yeah, box jumps, you come up and you come down. You come up and you come down, box jumps.
They're usually about the height of a step, right?
They could be as high as here, I've seen people do it. So you can graduate.
I ain't gonna graduate to my height.
Jump off.
I'm
That's a
talking
great
about
way
the
for
little
these.
kid, my little exercise trampoline,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about.
No, 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 yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, no, girl, when I'm jumping up on no trampoline, no, it's the little exercise.
I saw it.
I love it, I love it. So guys, what we're gonna do real quick is I want to, what time is it? We're gonna wake y'all up a little bit. We're gonna do, so that we don't have to get on the ground. We are going to do, we're gonna do the side skaters. We're gonna do it for 45 seconds. So I want everyone to get up. I want you guys to, so that's probably one of the only ones that you don't know how to do. The in and out boat, but it warrants us being on the ground. And,
So the plank punch, is that just get down and doing a plank?
it's getting down doing a plank, you're gonna hold it, and you're gonna punch, gonna punch, gonna punch, gonna punch.
You do your planks from here, I do my, like, I bet you do.
What do you do when you do the plank punch? You gotta be up like this.
Oh.
So essentially you're here, and you're just gonna punch, but on the ground. I just don't wanna get, I can get on the ground here.
Oh,
You're
Lord.
gonna hold the plank, punch, 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 punch. That's a plank punch.
I'm gonna keep doing this like this.
Okay, what's the Russian twist?
Russian twist, so you're on the ground, so it's doing, crunchies, but you're here, so your feet are elevated, so this is modified. You're here.
Oh, like you're a medicine ball.
Once you've got enough of the lower, so this is if you wanna kind of get that little layer of fat, you're gonna lift up, right? So now you're holding, and you're here.
Oh, okay.
So that engages completely different muscles.
Oh, Lord.
And in and out both?
So you're on the ground. I don't have enough room here, so you're on the ground, and you get up, you come back down. You get up, you come back down. So you're in and out the boat. So you're laying flat down, you're getting up, and you're hopping over.
From the ground, you jump up and hop around.
If I had
Oh, wait a minute. So, no, do it right here. See
Look at my
that?
good clothes. Okay, so you're on the ground, set the tightrope, and beep up, you get up. Good thing. Oh, I have to hop back in, get on the ground, you come up,
Oh, God.
you hop up, you hop back in,
And you do that for how long?
45 seconds.
Goodness, Dr. Aiden. How old are you?
We're gonna eat for 45 seconds while y'all exercise.
I'm about to be 30 and I don't think I can do half of this.
It's doable, right? You just gotta keep trying to, even if you do
Oh, I'm sorry, baby.
in the 45 seconds you did two, you just keep adding to it, keep adding to it.
I did,
I would have fell out the motor.
Alright, so we're gonna do, the side skaters. So the side skaters, I like them because they're fun and everyone wants to tone their butt, right?
Yeah,
So-
I don't care what I do.
You're gonna go into this neutral position. You always wanna make sure that this back here is nice and relaxed. You're gonna go into a squat, and you're just gonna slide.
oh, okay.
Squat. Squat.
That's reasonable.
And then once you got both, you need to
Put my shoes on. Slide down. Yeah,
That's
you need to
dangerous.
slide down.
Alright, so we've started our 25 seconds.
Oh.
Keep going. Keep going. The lower you get, the more you feel it in that glute. Everybody wonders why I got a nice butt? Aha!
I just need to lift mine.
This helps. Got 15 seconds left. Keep going.
Get some good music on.
I know, right? All right, 5 seconds, the last 3 seconds. Go as fast as you can. Side, and stop. You feel it, right?
Yeah.
So a great way to learn to stabilize your core, your glute, pubic bone.
My language.
All right, we're almost done. I'll wait for them to come back. Anybody have a juicer at home? She's like, not me. Good. I didn't include this in your packet. Yeah. Take a picture of this recipe, and I'll have a more in-depth one, come next week. But remember I talked about the, different juices if you wanna juice at home to help detoxify you? This is that recipe. You wanna eat it?
So when you put the, like cashews in the juicer, how is that going?
It's a little hard because you have to grind it.
First?
You have a centrifugal. You're gonna need a lot of cashews. But the good thing about the centrifugal and cashews are softer, so it'll crunch and it'll turn into milk a lot faster. With the mastication, it does not work. Because it's like slow churning and it just crumbles the cashews and doesn't do what it's supposed to do.
Are you using the book?
They're not. So anyone who needs like specific recipes, I'll have one for you next week.
And put the exercise routine back up. Footage.
So can you imagine doing like an exercise like that and switching it off in 20 minutes? What do you think you'll feel like? What do you think your body will be doing look like?
Numb.
I tell everyone, I saw Judge Judy in a white
Yes, you
bikini.
did.
I said, she looks like that in her 70s. I will keep doing my in and out boats.
Lucas area.
Yep.
The Russian force.
You start off with feet down and twist. That's also good for digestion, so if you've got slow moving sluggish bowels, twisting, right? And then when you really want to get into it, lift those feet up.
Go back, your hand was right in the middle.
Oh, sorry.
I just figured I'm out there with the line.
Okay, you gotta put that down. So we'll do that in the morning.
Sure. What time?
5 o'clock.
Okay.
So, explain this chart here.
So this
Things
chart-
you should use, or is this like, this is what's in?
So when you're doing that one day cleanse, I recommend doing, not just like one juice cleanse the entire day, right? You wanna switch it up. And as it's switching it up, you're getting different nutrients directly into your bloodstream. And so there's a difference between juicing and a smoothie. The smoothie has all the fiber in it, so it slowly absorbs into your system. Whereas juicing, you're eliminating the fiber, and you're getting the direct juice directly into your system. And you feel it, you really feel like, ooh, it hits your system. So there's definitely a difference. I explained this one, she's like, no, I have one of those high speed, no, that's a smoothie. You need a juicer to extract the fiber so you get the direct juice into your system.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Because I'll mix mine, because I make crazy with leaves. So I'll juice my roots and my lemon,
And
and
what?
then take that and put it in the blender, and take my kale and spinach and drop it in there and drink it. Is that cheating?
Yeah. Because you got all that
The
fiber
juice goes
there.
right into the cell.
Yeah.
Like when you do just juice.
Directly into your bloodstream, and then your bloodstream carries it to where it needs to go.
Okay.
If you include that fiber in it, it
Slow
slowly
it down.
absorbs.
It is a little different in the feel, so.
And the
Alright.
good thing about juicing is that it allows your digestive system to have a break. Right? Because if you're ingesting all that fiber, your small intestines have to do this, then your large intestines have to do this, and your colons have to eliminate it. When you're juicing, there's no processing, it's just going directly into your bloodstream, direct nutrients, you're good to go.
So I do a 3-day which I probably should do before Christmas.
Mhm.
It's a green and then a liver and a kidney cleanse.
Mhm.
But in the 3 days, I made one juice for the green, and it's 64 ounces. I have to finish all that. The next day, I do one juice for liver and kidney, and I have to finish all that. And the next day, I do a different juice for colon. But they're all, but you said mix it up throughout the day. It's the same exact juice. I drink it all day long, every 2 hours.
If you're gonna do it one day,
That's so, if I do one day, I mix it up, but I'm doing it's 3 consecutive days I have to do it.
then that's fine, then you can do it that way. But if you're
Okay.
just doing like a one day, I just wanna just do like a quick juice cleanse to get all the nutrients, then yes.
Mix it
Because
up.
to drink one green juice one whole day, and then you go back to eating normal, you're gonna feel sick. And you're not gonna get all the nutrients you need from all the different sources. But if you're doing one day, another one the second day, another one the third day, you're getting all those nutrients over a span of 3 days.
Okay.
Versus if you just do one juice one day and that's it, you're missing a lot of the nutrients from all the other.
Now, this one does let me eat a green vegetable and a white meat at night.
Not on a one day.
Oh, on the 3 days they do that, you're in it. So is that okay, or should I not?
It depends, like at the end of the day you're eating something, or at the end of the 3 days you're eating something?
No, at the end of every day, you eat a green and so I should not do that.
Mhm.
So
Let
you're
your gut
just
rest.
negating
Yeah.
everything you've done.
And
Yes.
I'm just doing what they told me on the sheet of paper. So don't do the food at the end of it, just do the juices. I really like that one, cause I got a meal at the end.
Mayfair, clean juice,
Clean juice.
Mayfair.
Mhm. Download the app, I think you get $5 or $10 off your first. Yep,
Okay,
that's
well,
it.
I'm just on the website, but,
Yeah.
but it's a one, you order like a 1 day cleanse, and it's a package. And I hadn't
Okay, and
found
they
it
have
yet.
everything already done.
Yes.
And you just drink it.
And is it under
You
juice?
go there.
Would it be under juice?
Cause the reason I had to do my cleanse is
Okay.
because I
So those are the different juices, so there's a sweet green, and they tell you what order, there's an orange, there's a green, the yellow, the white, and the red.
So all that's one, okay, see, I looked at it like you would pick one.
No, you go
All of those
six
are
of them.
in the cleanse.
And about how much is that now, Dana?
It is $56, and then if you get, yeah, and it's
3 day cleanse.
But that's a
and
one day.
this is a one day, and I think,
I
it's $5, when you first register, it's $5 or $10 off, and if you refer someone, they give you another like $5 off, so you end up, to me, I pay for convenience, like, you walk in there, you say, hey, I ordered online.
Okay, yeah.
You know.
Here's,
Give
there's
us
a
your
little
reference
package.
code, Dr. Ada.
I
We
will
get you
email
a
it
free
to you.
one.
I will email it to you.
Yeah.
And you
that's
just
the
keep
one
those
day?
bottles?
Is that it, like the
That's
little
That's
bottle?
it. They're plastic. I mean, they're biodegradable. I don't.
See, I'd rather do that and mix all those and make all
Me too.
those my own.
Yeah.
Mayfair, get it.
And that's why I was
So you
like.
just drink those 3 bottles in
Is
one
it
day?
3 or 6?
There's
Okay,
six.
so I'm just seeing
There's
3
six
on
bottles.
the
There's
side.
16 ounces. So every 2 hours, I set a timer on my phone, and so every 2 hours you're finishing 16 ounces. Now some of them taste really good. You're gonna finish it like that. So just be very careful. Drink it like you would if you had a bowl of fruit, right, or a whole salad. You're not eating a whole salad in like 5 minutes, right? Drink it over, 30 minutes, and then you're fine. And then beeper comes on 2 hours later, you drink another one.
You know,
The
we have a
beeper.
producer.
I know.
Any more questions, Juicy? Mine said
Not eat.
So I'll email this to you guys, but I put together some stress management strategies. Just things that have helped me during stressful times, breathing, right? Connecting with people who keep you balanced, right? Last thing you want is when you're high stress and then you're talking to your good girlfriend and she's telling you all her stressed up stuff. That defeats the whole purpose, right? Step away from the situation. If the situation's right in front of you and there's nothing you can do about it, walk away, right? But also focus on the moment. If you've got a lot of stuff, you got families that are pulling you every which way, focus on who, what, when, where, right now, the present moment. Like, I'm focusing on y'all. As soon as I leave out this door, I got a whole mess of stuff to deal with. But right now, I'm not even thinking about that, I'm thinking about y'all. Faith and prayer, y'all know.
Yes.
I love you some Jesus. So I put together these 3 passages that I actually have in my bedroom. So I have my affirmations, and then I have my Bible verses. And when I'm brushing my teeth or I'm at home, I'm trying to wash my face, and I'm like, what the? I'm like, let me go ahead, and I say them out loud.
Yeah.
Reading it is completely different, but when you say them
When you
out
say it, yeah,
loud,
when you speak it.
you're actually communicating with him on a whole different layer than just reading it, right? And so, I just found these to be helpful. Some people have others, but if you are a spiritual person, and even if you're not, and you just want something to recite over and over again, why not say the whole words?
I like that last one.
Yeah, I just said that.
And you know what? Let me tell you, there's been times I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work out. And you wake up the next day and like,
It does.
and it is, yeah. It's like, it's taken care of. And you're like, how did this happen? What is going on?
They were vibrating.
I did get nervous. I was like, oh, they're doing construction, right? Haven't got pictures of it? So of course, we're gonna end with chiropractic care, right? And how important it is. I tell everyone, if you are sick and not feeling well, get your behind in here. Don't stay at home. Don't dwell in your stress or sickness. Get your immune system activated. Every time you get an adjustment, it actually boosts your immune system 400%. If your body's going to heal, your brain and spine and nerve system need to be connected. The best way to do that, besides taking all the supplements and juicing, is get an assessment. Bless you. You pay for it, right? I included this in your chart because I can't get this out to enough people. You guys have to understand how important your spine and nerve system is. What segment of that nerve, what organ does it connect to? And God forbid that organ stops working, what will happen to you? And people are amazed, they had no idea people come in here for earaches or hormonal issues, or, their hair's thinning, now all of a sudden like, Dr. Ada, oh my God, my eyebrows are growing back, I'm in less pain, there's all these things that you would never think you would go to a chiropractor for. And a lot of chiropractors just settle for neck pain, back pain, neck pain, back pain. Well, yes, yeah, and I get it, yeah, if you have neck pain, back pain, obviously you wanna go to a chiropractor if you want it, you wanna deal with it more natural, but chiropractic is way bigger than that. It's your overall function, right? It's how is your body healing? How is your body adapting to natural stressors? If it's not, something's going on with your brain to body connection, right? So it's important to know, okay, if the middle of the back is not feeling right or it feels off, right? 9 times out of 10, it's between my stomach and my appendix and everything in between. What is going on? And communicating that with people, if they're like, oh man, back of my neck hurts all the time, well, back of your neck, that could be your, you might have thyroid issues, it may not show up. You may have heart issues, right? Your lymph may not be draining properly. Like, take it a step further so people begin to value their health and not just put everything on the back burner. Somebody might recognize this. The person may or may not be here today. Actually, I can see that. She's sitting right there, right behind me. I love showing her x-rays. I remember we met at Plantation, what is the place called?
The Urban Fair.
Herbal Fair. She was buying plants. And I was there, had my table, just talking to folks. And she's like, yeah, I'll come in. She was literally waiting for a pain pump, right?
Not getting it.
Not getting it.
You were gonna have to go on a pain pump that you carry around to pump pain medicine in.
No, it actually does it.
It was a spinal cord stimulator, they implanted it in my spine, and it was like a little thing they put in my butt cheek, like a pacemaker, and I had a remote,
And you didn't have to get it? Wow.
Now, when we retook her x-rays, her lower spine, because she's got spinal fusion, it's at L1, L2, L3, right? And her lower x-ray didn't really change too much, obviously, because there's a fusion there, but what did change? Her neck, right? Most people don't realize, when you got that forward hip position, right? If you're constantly like this, your entire spinal cord, think of it as one long rope. Gravity's not working against you. And it's pulling all that tension along your spine. Where do you think you're gonna feel it the most? Right? The instant we begin to get your head back on track, right? Now gravity's working with you, and it's able to disperse the entire weight of your body along all of the vertebrae on your spine. Eases up the tension, increases function, less pain. she's on her way to 45, boy. And how often do you home exercises?
Every day.
One lady, she admitted it was still in her car. Oh, I said, child.
That ball feels so good. You sit, I mean, when you're doing, that's a long, even if it's a long day.
Hey, I just got my daughter one of those
Next traction. We'll get her.
for Christmas present. She's in Boston. I'm sending her one.
Happy, Merry Christmas.
She wants it. She
Oh,
wants
I
it.
didn't know you could buy them.
Merry
I
Christmas.
need to get Kyle one.
20% off, y'all. I told you, if you're gonna be that relative, you might as well just go full. I sent all my girlfriends a little care package. I got like a liver lever, some endocrine stuff, and, beauty counter, lipstick. Here you go. You guys already know. No more gift cards for me. It's a supplement.
That's their whole stocking.
I'm telling you.
Supplements.
Cause they're my girlfriends, and if I wanna hang out with you, I want you to be healthy too.
I know it, don't make me sick.
They already know about me. But warning signs, when you're communicating with people and they're telling you that they have this stuff, start talking to them. You guys know enough to say, hey, you know what? Have you tried this? What do you think about this? They may not do something immediately, but what you now know, you gotta start teaching people. Because
Yeah.
lack of knowledge, our people will perish. We got a lot of people dying unnecessarily for life-threatening issues that don't even have to manifest.
A lot of dying young.
Yes.
And a lot of dying because they got opioid addiction.
Wilmington is
Because they were put
still
on pain
Yep.
medicine for
Number
something.
number 1. Pender County, and a little bit of Onslow's number 3 in the nation per capita.
Really?
And now a new study just came out because kids don't take care of themselves. There's a high rate of, 17 to 32-year-olds who go to the dentist for teeth pain
Oh, yeah,
are now being prescribed these opioids. They have a higher rate of being addicted to them.
right.
Because instead of, doing the actual medical procedure, they're just gonna stay on the drugs. Unless they're addicted, they're addicted.
Yeah, it's,
It's hard. So action steps, y'all. Everybody wants to know, okay, what do I do next? First, address your stressors. If you can mediate it, mediate it. If you can't, walk away. Right? Stay on topic for nutrition because the only way you're gonna be able to help mediate the stressor is making sure, if you need to take supplements, take it. Begin to fast. Fasting is purging your system of all those toxins. Decrease and eliminate sugar and complex carbs, so the breads, the rices, the pastas, right? Juice, do a 1-day juice cleanse. Do a 2-day juice cleanse, whatever it takes to get that out of your system. Begin to exercise, detox, make sure you stay on top of your adjustments, right? And start to develop your mindset. So come into workshops so that you're adding to your repertoire of knowledge, right?
Where does fasting and detoxing work with breastfeeding?
You can, so detoxing, all of our BioRay stuff, those are they all have mild detoxifiers in them. Some of them are heavy detoxifiers, the rest of them are mild. You can take those because they were actually formulated for babies and pregnant mamas, right? So it's the way they capture the toxins via the medicinal mushrooms. It's not going to affect the baby.
Okay, I don't know if that's the other detox you have, where you have an AM and a PM.
Yep, the detox system.
It's, oh, yeah.
Yep.
And you have to do that for the whole month.
The whole month. I recommend it.
I know, dang, and nights and
Sometimes-
night I finished the last 2. It's just like, God, it's just 4 more pills that I think about taking every day,
One more?
2 in the morning, 2 at night.
Just finish it, then you're done.
I know, well,
oh, so that, all you do is take 2 pills in the morning, 2 at night?
Mm-hmm. If you're gonna do a
I
full
don't
body
have the
detox.
juice?
Well, you're detoxifying in a different way.
thought
I
you
will
had-
always do 2 of those a year. No matter all the stuff that I do, I just always will.
yeah, this
So,
is my
so I
second
can
one.
continue to eat normal with that?
Eat normal, like going to Chick-fil-A normal?
No, no,
or-
no.
But
no.
yes,
you know how-
yes, yeah. Yep. So upcoming events, so our next event after this one will be our 2-year anniversary celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, we're still working on the details, but, I believe it'll be January 4th, it's a Friday, between 7 and 8. And we're just gonna convert this place to a nice open space, and we'll have food and music, and everyone can come hang out and share testimony and have fun. We'll also have some other treats. So January 4th is the day that I officially opened the office, nobody came in yet, but January 9th is the first day a new patient walked in,
Yay.
so, yeah, so I'm excited.
I started coming to you in February of
Mhm.
that same year. Oh my goodness, it's almost been 2 years now.
It's almost been 2 years. Yeah, there's a couple of them. There's Kenzie, she comes in Monday mornings. She was the first person that walked in the door and she was like, so I'm sure she'll share her story also. So, yeah, so mark that date out. And yes, there will be organic wine. There will be organic wine. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, ladies, it was a pleasure. I tried to get in under 7:30, but I think the workout and food took a little bit longer, but at least we're done before 8.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll see you Monday.
We'll see you Monday. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. Yeah, that's it. If you have any questions about supplements, if anyone orders any of the Health Force, the maca and the endocrine system stuff, those won't be in until next week, but we're doing pre-orders now because they'll be in next week.
Oh, so the stuff you showed on the screen, I can order back from you? Oh,
Yeah,
you have
we're
the order forms for that?
Yes, Lisa, do you have the order forms?
They're actually in your packet.
Yeah, they're in your packet. Yep. Yep.
And the, like I say, it's the,
Oh, give away, don't go away, don't go away, don't go away.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
here's
so-
the endocrine system stuff.
Ladies, we're gonna be raffling off 2 things. Kombucha, this one is my all-time favorite. Now, if you are not a kombucha fan and you wanna give it to somebody else, right, then I'll just pull that person's name out of the thing. But this is actually really, really good.
What flavor is it?
This one is blood orange, carrot, and ginger. Farm.com, right? And then we'll be raffling off, this is the Shilajit Supreme,
Oh, damn.
Subic acid, Shilajit Supreme, the one up there.
And what was that one for again?
This one is also for endocrine function, brain function, and detox. And the way I see it is kind of like, anytime you take it with any other supplement, it helps it work even better. If that makes sense. Booster. There you go. Okay, so, this is for the kombucha. I say kombucha.
Wait, I don't think my name in there.
It's not?
No, because you came in late.
Oh, you came in late?
Yeah, wait.
Here, put your name.
I'm trying to say, I'm saying someone will get something, I'm not.
Oh, no, you put your names on.
Oh, that's
Somebody.
right.
I'm trying to say, my name not even in the thing. Because you know, I like to win. I have a question
You
about the
smiled
kid.
at me, Nick.
Oh.
Okay. So first one is kombucha.
I don't want to bring this shit show legit.
So, it's Betsy.
Yeah, really? That's me.
There you go, my dear. Just don't drink anything tonight because you won't sleep.
Oh, okay. I'm good, no.
Okay, and Lulu. Unfortunately, you can't take this. You're breastfeeding.
What, this one is for,
Sujak Supreme. So, but I'll make the announcement now. She probably doesn't know, but she actually won our what is our frequent attendance program? So she's winning a juicer. So I'm gonna give this to someone else.
but I won. I got daughters. And I got a husband.
He can't take this one either because of thyroid. He's gotta take the Gregory.
You did try that. I got, remember the sample from Ladies Night, I believe it was?
Yes, we got something else for you. Don't worry, don't worry. I know, I hate to take presents back, but.
I never win.
Girl, you're getting a juicer. And this was.
I had to work for that, okay? I had to drive here at night and drive home. My girls still haven't eaten because I'm not there.
Miss Lena.
Yay! I get to try it.
All right.
No, I have at the Harataki. And I love it. Hey, Dr. Ada, so in your endocrine system packages,
Yes.
is the Shilajit?
Shilajit?
That.
Is that in there?
It should be, is it?
In the like, you got one with Luminous Spice, Majestic Mint, Lady Passion.
Yes.
So
So
what's in the?
the maca is the luminous spice or the mix, 2 different flavors. So if you like, because it's powder form, and so whatever you mix it with, if you do the luminous spice, it's gonna have like kind of like an Indian spicy kind of taste to it. Or if you want the majestic mint, it's more of a minty flavor.
So, but what
But the
is,
endocrine system, so it has all of the stuff that, so it's got, it has everything but the hair taki, because you gotta buy that on your own. So it's got the,
Shaluzu?
Shilajit
Supreme. So it's got the Shilajit Supreme,
It's got the digestive enzyme, and it's got a maca, and what else did I put in there?
Alright, I want
It's supposed to
that.
be 4 of them.
The endocrine system package with just the name. Well, so it's got, let's see.
Yeah, well, it's a, find it faster.
Yeah, cause I have my brain. Okay,
There.
No, that
go
was,
back.
I don't think we had, that was the only bubble
No,
she shared.
yeah, so it's gonna have that in it right there,
It's gonna have one
and
of those.
this, one of these.
One of those.
So I pick which one, mint or, okay, and then the digestive.
Vitamin, Dexane,
And then the digestive enzymes.
so
Okay, that's
those
fine.
three, and the C-Jack Supreme, or the, Hirataki's on your own.
I already got that.
Okay.
So it's those three, if you wanna do the endocrine system cleanse.
Yeah, that's not bad for 6972. So that's what I'd start doing, cause there's that New Year's thing I said we'll do, or go ahead and do it now.
Why not?
What am I gonna do for myself?
Okay, so the endocrine shake package, that's how many pills?
That's one we're just talking about, so the digestive enzyme, it's the C-Jack, and one of the mockers.
Yeah, let's do that.
Three of them.
$73?
For 6972, well, I don't have a bowel issue, yeah.
So, the reason why, I love this product, like I said, cause I did my research, for it to have its nutrient density, and they have so many other things, we're gonna incorporate, but for their price point, I asked the guy, I was like, why is everything priced like this? He said, we just want more people to be healthier. I'm like, each one of these should be like $40.
So it's different than the stress management package.
It's different from the stress management, yes. Stress management, that's the vitamin C with the curcumin.
Okay,
Um,
so now it's that much.
Yeah, and so, and I kept it separate because some people, if they wanna just like intro, then I would do the stress management first. But if you've been coming and you're pretty much moving in the right direction, then yes, every person should do an endocrine system one, especially if you're a woman, especially if you've been wearing makeup, especially if you've had fluoride, brushing with your teeth, fluoride treatments, that pineal gland is calcified.
What about that little heart thing going on here?
You should be fine. You would do that one and not the Lady Passion. So Lady Passion is not for anyone that has any possible heart issues. The Maca, with the Health Force, you can do that one. With the Lady Passion one,
And the maca is a powder?
So I can actually put that, I ain't putting that in some of my coffee, but I can put it in a,
put it in water and shake it. Shake it. Yeah, don't, no blending, don't put it in a smoothie, just put it in some juice or water, shake it. Put it in,
in my turmeric juice. Oh, right, can I put my vinegar with it? You know, I'm trying to get it all in
Yeah.
at one time.
I do too. Yeah,
I don't even care what it
yeah,
tastes
nothing
like, I
that
just want to be able
spins
to get it
because
all
the
in at
heat
one
will
time.
break it down and it'll be less effective.
Okay, so I need to get myself.
So which is better, the men or the women's side?
I like both of them. I like that like foreign taste. I mean, that's right up my taste palette. The mint tastes good too. I mean, it wasn't really even that minty. It just had like a slight spearmint taste kind of to it, but nothing like, ooh, peppermint.
No.
Yeah, not overpowering. 'Cause I don't, like, you know, like Andes chocolates, that kind of, just that, just even saying it like hurts my heart. It's not like that.
So, I didn't see these on the list. Are they not 25% off?
No, they are, we just didn't put, I didn't put everything on.
Okay,
I just
good.
put the stuff that, either for stress or for
Right, so what do I need to get on?
Well, they for the boys. For the,
Stop.
if you even feel like.
The
it.
mint, usually they'll be in next week. So when they come in, you gotta pay for sales, which is only $25.
I remember all the darn easy to me, all the last one, I still got them, but I'm getting one. I'm gonna take this one and split it out and put it in two separate ones and give half a jar to each of the boys in their stocking, and I'll have one.
Okay, so I'm taking this
Yes,
as a
first thing in the morning,
first thing in the morning,
take two.
two.
I do it on an empty stomach with that, and I just do a whole, that's about 16 ounces, I'll just chug it. And then wait 30 minutes, and then if you're, wanna eat something, like if you're not fasting yet, you wanna eat, then eat 30 minutes after taking it.
Okay, and this is to support income.
So I've got,
So I don't need the Harataki, what was that other?
our talk is
Yeah.
different.
Harataki is different, that's detoxifying specifically your pineal gland.
Okay, okay,
Yeah. But it's
okay.
also a detoxifier, but pineal, or the Harataki is specifically for your pineal glands. So if
Okay.
you wanna do the whole shebang, all you would need to do is, the Harataki or order it on your own, and then the digestive enzymes, and, one of the makas, either the Lady Passion or the maka.
Okay, so,
If you wanna do the whole package, but if you just wanna start off and see how your body does, then that's what I did, I started off with that just to see what my body did. and
I love them.
Me too.
Literally within a couple of
Did
days.
you got it from your scan? Oh, good. Did you tell them I sent you?
Yes, it is.
Yay!
And I did my daughter for the foot
So
back.
you've got men in your family,
Son-in-law and my
they
son.
can do that same exact
Okay.
thing.
Went and laid on the bed.
As far as,
Sorry about that. Have a great night.
then it would be the register. So I'm stocking stuff for me.
Good night,
Yes,
Yes.
well,
Power and power.
if you take one, make use of, but number two, if you take
No,
two,
I ain't got it.